Okay, I'm going to give an update for yesterday. But before I do, I want to explain that my father spending 25 years calling everything a fantasy, calling me bullshit names, victim blaming, whatever, is getting in the way of this gentleman's care and me just doing everyday stuff. Yesterday was a pretty big deal. In the hospital, also, they're not able to work with me with this man. Oh, and when I go there for a seizure, they just release me on the spot. When my kidneys are hurting and I can't sit up in a chair, they play games in a chair. And I know what it is. My father told them I'm some mental illness kid who just wants to show off his penis and balls or something. Oh yeah, that's because I was urinating black, and I went in because your urine shouldn't be coming out of your body black. I even gave him a black, or theirs was dark brown by then, but it still was very odd. And the first two samples were black with a green tint, what I caught on camera and got a sample of, obviously. But why do I have to go this far? Because every time I go into the hospital, if it's a fracture inside my leg, if it's black urine, unless it's absolutely visible, my father will make sure that I'm mistreated right on the dot. It's all a fantasy. He just wants to show off his dick and testicles. That's it. No, I'm here because I'm urinating black. And then the year and a half prior, I had some blood show up in my testicles as a dripping feeling in the left of my GI came. Now, the GI has been an ongoing issue for 2 years, but I could have got better care if my father wasn't saying these things. Now, he's 88 years old, and my mother died in 2011. Her name is Patricia. There is Alice out there that will pretend like she's something, but she's never spent any time with me. She just is my father's new side piece. That's it. There's nothing more to that. But she'll pretend like there's something more. I can ask her 100 questions about me. Like, okay, what schools did I go to? What meds did I take? Like you can ask her any question about me that actually you need to answer, and you'll get the wrong answer. And these are questions only somebody who actually was there for their son would know. But it's getting nuts with them. So keep that in mind when I tell you what happened yesterday. I also take care of an 84-year-old that's senile and gone. He can't do anything for himself, and in Rochester has made a mistake. See, my father misinformed a lot of doctors and workers, so they labeled this man independent. He can't clean up his own feces, he can't make his own phone calls, he can't do his own calendars, he's not going to the hospital, he's signing himself out when he's not supposed to, all this type of stuff. Why doesn't he have a worker, and why don't I have a worker? Well, my father decided to tell them that I'm just some mentally ill kid wanting money. Oh, it's all some red herring. He just wants Social Security. He's greedy and lazy. He's just lazy. He's just lazy. He doesn't conform enough. He breaks all the rules. That's what my father told a state worker. So you know what happens when you do that. Now, here's the result of what my father does. I have a real disability. I was born with just ADHD. But by the age of 7, I had a neurological disorder. By the age of 10, and by the way, that's from a lot of stuff. But anyways, I'll skip to the front. My disabilities are ADHD. I have a neurological disorder that causes lack of movement, causes my nervous system to get shut off, and seizures. I have stomach and esophagus damage. I obviously the neurological disorder causes speech difficulty. Anything part of my nervous system is triggered by flashing lights, cold, weird noises. Certain like if I get touched, sometimes it sends electrical charge through my nervous system. This has been going on for 25 years. So I also have PTSD from my mother and father abusing me and having other people abuse me. My mother and father also like to weaponize doctors. They will set me up and drugs. They'll drug me or do something like that, and then spend year after year pouring more drugs into me, weaponizing doctors. Now, when I go to the doctors, they start helping me at first until my father tries to jump in and weaponize them. Now, it can be like they look at old paperwork or they start reaching out to people or whatever it is. It usually ends very badly. I start getting hurt and more injuries. So the doctors don't know what to do because they're not listening to me. I've never been able to get any of my real disabilities established with them, with this 88-year-old rich guy trying to cover up his mistakes. His wife died because of it, yes. His wife was popping pills that weren't prescribed to her, mixing them with alcohol. I tried to tell Dad that she needed help. Instead, she went through liver failure. She got to come home. She started drinking out of the Absolute vodka into a glass, a martini glass with a pinch of cranberry. This is with 20% of her liver working only. Her skin is yellow, and she's only come back home to see her family for a night. Instead, she blew past her family and went straight for the liquor cabinet. So, of course, she passes away from these behaviors, but my father won't let me visit her in the hospital, won't let me go to any of the will hearing, won't let me speak to any family members, and he's cutting me off and trying to call me. He's psycho, he's ill. And they're making up all these bullshit stories about me. For instance, I won a swimming medal, but instead I steal swimming medals from African Americans. And I have attachment disorder, and I need drugs, and I lie and make up fantasies. What's the truth? I just won a swimming medal in the orphanage and tried to show it to him. That's it. I just pulled my medal out of the Lego box. It had, ZG, my original last name, on it, and I just tried to show it to them. This was 25 years ago, and still to this day they're saying, no, 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 it was an African American kid. No, it wasn't. He wouldn't even take it from you. He thought you guys were nuts. And why do you guys think it's African Americans? Well, because he's athletic and you're not. Black kids are athletic and you're not. That's racist, you guys. So it gets really, really nuts with them. And then they put this on paperwork at age 5, 6, 7, 8. They drug the shit out of me, trafficked me from state to state. I've never been able to stay in one spot for more than a year or two without getting moved until I became in New Hampshire. I had lived in the woods for a long time, and I got moved around while getting abused a long time. But it's a very, very weird form of abuse. Also, when I spoke up about stuff like my mother throwing shoes at my head, or when my nephew spoke up with me, or at any time about rulers getting smacked across my face, or any druggings or pills or overdoses or anything like that, my mother would double down, start slipping me drugs, try to make me look sick, and then bring me to a bunch of doctors making up a bunch of psych illnesses. And it worked just because year after year, they moved me to Texas, they won't do anything there. Then they cut off all doctors. When doctors want to help me with this neurological disorder there, they're not going to help her kill me. Instead, they want to know how to help me for real. My mother doesn't like this, so they moved me to a cabin up in New Mexico with no doctors and teachers. They know this place is bad, so after they're done with them, they sue them, get $26,000, so they get their money back. Then they homeschool me in Maine to try to make sure no doctors and teachers get a hold of me. And then she goes back to drugging me and trying that as soon as she gets back to Mass, because the doctors will be weaponized. Massachusetts has all the paperwork they got me is just weaponized bullshit. It's really bad. None of it is accurate, not a damn bit of it. Even the stuff I was talking about, nobody was helping me through it, so I had no clue what was true or not true. I just knew what my mother told me, what my father told me, and what the doctors told me. But I didn't also realize that if my mother is giving false information to the doctor, I can't trust what comes out of their mouth. And I was like, oh, well, so if my mother lies about me, and I know it's a lie, I should be careful? Yes. So it was a bunch of problems there. But I'm not going to be up here. I'm going to be pushed off the grid again. My mother, well, actually, my mother passed away. Sorry. My father and his new side piece, I guess stepmother you would call it, they did it again. I'm not able to work because of their choices. I have a job. It's not like I'm blaming them for anything. I'm not some mentally ill kid. This is literally like I have a job, but I have a disability that needs to get checked with the doctors. It's this simple. Before you can go to work at a job or drive a vehicle, if you have a disability that makes your legs and arms not work, your speech shut off, and you have seizures, you need to get paperwork on that, because you can't be falling down at work. You can't be like this all the time with nobody knowing why. You can't drive, and Social Security is confused. I'm telling them what my disabilities are. My father says it's also mental illness, don't help him, so they cut off everything. So I can't collect Social Security or get any services from the Department of Health and Human Services. They were helping me at first. They contacted my father. My father sent all his live paperwork, all the psych doctors he put together, all the bullshit. He pulled a couple witnesses. He even paid and started trying to convince my brother. My brother was in a big, 8-year fight with my father. I tried to reconnect them so that way we could have a discussion about this. And then, oh my God, everything went downhill with those two. I don't know what's going on, but it's completely nuts. Even their grandson and son doesn't want anything to do with them, and obviously he doesn't want anything to do with me while this is going on either. He always says he loves me, and I always love him, but this is a big mess that my father has created with my passed away mother. So we got all that crazy crap going on. And I can't, obviously, if I can't collect Social Security, can't use a doctor, can't get any help at the emergency room, I can't go back to work, I can't drive a car, and I'm not even allowed to use the shelter. If I go to a shelter and I don't have documentation for my real disabilities, I'm thrown out. You might be like, how? How? You just go to the doctors and come back. Normally, yes, but if you have a father and a mother like mine, it's not that simple. I go into the shelter, let's say. We'll say first, I take a cold shower, I have a seizure, fall on the ground, they send an ambulance. Then I come back from the hospital with paperwork saying I just had a seizure. They say, is this going to happen again? And I say, yeah. They go, well, you better not take any more showers here then. Well, I guess I don't know, but don't you have more paperwork on this? I'm trying. But the doctors keep on getting cut off. I don't know what's going on. Back then, I really didn't. I just knew that doctors would start helping me, and then all of a sudden, as soon as they called my father, they would stop doing anything. And I wouldn't get any paperwork. I just need a piece of paper that's, about my disability. But I can't get that for some reason. Now I know what that some reason is. Anyways, that doesn't stop there. So I'm staying at the shelter. Now they've seen a seizure downstairs. I'm butt naked I'm butt naked in the shower because it just happens. So now they're like, oh, what's going on? Now they probably think I'm some weirdo at this point because I don't have paperwork. And if I have had this disorder for 25 years, how the hell could there not be paperwork? They're thinking. Well, then in the morning, I have this problem that persists for year after year. I mean, it happens all the time. My nervous system gets numb if I rest it. Like if I fall asleep for a good 6 hours, I'll twitch in my sleep. I'll spasm in my sleep. Sometimes the spasms are so bad I'll wake up. But also in the morning, when I try to use my legs, it's almost like they were in ice. Sometimes I'll try to stand up and the muscles will all cramp up and I'll slam back down. Or sometimes I'll try to stand up and I look like a penguin. Or I'll try to use my arm, but it won't work properly and I can't grab stuff. I can't even get a bag packed. I'm lifting stuff that's falling out of my hand. I'm trying to get my phone ready and it smashes on the floor. Just none of my nerves are working. I can't feel nothing. That happens in the morning. I have to do stretches. I have to kind of move around a little bit. Same thing with the speech. I got to start talking, kind of get used to it. And then I'm up and moving for the day. But every year I don't get treatment, this is getting more severe. So in the morning, when they wake you up real early, I get up. I'm trying to get up and I can't. I'm stretching my legs. I'm getting ready to get up. Oh, my legs cramped. I got to get back down. And I hate shelters. So I want to get out of there and go to Dunkin's as soon as I can. I have no intention of fucking around with these assholes who literally just discriminate and hurt me. I don't want anything to do with that. I want out. So they tell me to move, and I'm trying to move. And I say, yep, I'm going, I'm going. They say, now! And sometimes they'll pick me up and throw me, and I'll fall over, hit my head, or then they go, what, you fucking faker? Get your ass out of here. Because remember, these are people who actually live there. They're homeless themselves, and then they just get put as staff sometimes. But sometimes the more adult staff, the people who actually work for the place, will get involved. They'll wonder, well, why can't you move your legs? I say, because I have a neurological disorder for the last 25 years. It's getting worse, but I can move them. I just have to slowly. What do you mean you can? You just said you can't. I know. I can't right now, but I will. No, you said you can. So now they don't understand. I'm saying, well, I can move them. I just gotta kind of give them. I gotta wake up the nervous system. Oh, don't you know what's going? Well, I want paperwork on this. We're calling an ambulance. So every morning, these shelters call ambulances, all because I need to do some stretches to wake up my legs. And even then, the stretches take a little bit sometimes. And then other times, I can do it within 30 minutes. Or sometimes, like when I go to the bathroom at 2, 3 in the morning, I'll use a cane. Or you'll see me do a weird hobble. Or sometimes you'll see me squat and fall down and be on the floor for a half an hour. That's been going on for a long time. Even during my childhood, I was brought to the emergency room. I was given Vicodin for severe migraines. I mean, severe migraines. Now, these migraines were causing my nervous system not to work. My legs weren't working. My arms wouldn't stay, and I was screaming pain on the kitchen floor. But what happened to those Vicodin? My mother was popping them with alcohol, and they have this tendency when they do something wrong to blame me. So when my mother was popping somebody else's Vicodin with alcohol, they blamed me and said, no, no, and you might be thinking maybe I took them or something. No, no, no. That's not how they blame me. I brought to Dad, I said, Dad, Patricia is taking all those Vicodin. What happens if in a month I need them? What happens if I fall to the ground again? He went upstairs and said, are you taking the Vicodin? She goes, yeah, I'm taking the Vicodin. So what? I only did it one time. And really, this is her 8th or 9th time. And you know what they do? They say, it's all your fault for spying, Zach. I said, I wasn't spying. I'm just watching TV. And those are my meds, so I know the count. Well, you're punished. It's all your fault. They did this a lot, these sick people. Boy, is my father sick. But what's even worse is he makes it out to be like he's normal and I'm the sick one. Even when his wife was dying of liver failure, he wouldn't let me visit because he doesn't want the doctors to know how sick she is. She was really sick in the head. The whole family knew it. At times, she would even try to drag me to the floor and treat me like a dog. Literally. I don't mean treat me like a dog like in the... I mean actually call me a dog, tell me to sit and lay down, then try to actually put her hands on me and say I wasn't laying down flat enough. Things like that. She would come on over and try to tell me that I need to go along with another made-up disease. Hey, I got this idea in my head. And my mother would try to force it into me. I'd be like, no, the doctors say that's not right, and they'll tell her. The doctors will tell her, no, that's not right. Everybody will tell her it's not right, and she'll still go forward. Like you might see in my medical records that I have a history of suicidal ideations, and I have a history of homicidal serial killer ideations, and all this other crazy shit. You want to know what that is? It's very the context is fucked up once when you hear it. So it started with this. I got an overdose at age 5. Okay, well between age 5 and 7, somewhere in between that. It destroyed my nervous system, and I didn't know what was wrong. About at the age of 6 or 7 or something like that, I just sucked on my skin right after the overdose. I'm like, what the hell? What's going on? What's wrong with me? Well, why does my skin feel different? Because I sucked on my thumb and my skin when I was 3. Now, I mean, I just like, you suck on your thumb, you know the feeling of your skin. That's it. I knew what sucking on your skin, your thumb skin, or your hand skin, or whatever felt like from 3. All of a sudden, my whole body changes. The teachers are calling me into the hallway saying, it looks like your whole body changed, your whole speech changed, your writing changed. Did something change with medication? What's going on at home? I was only like 5 to 7 years old. I don't know. So I'm home and I notice that my skin feels different. So I start sucking on it. My mother calls that suicidal ideations. He's suicidal. So now the doctors have me on even more pills. She's calling me suicidal. I'm stealing things. I'm writing on my names on things. I'm out to get her. None of that's true. But my mother's coming up with all these stories, lies, and fantasies, all these delusions to try to make me out to be somebody I'm not. Meanwhile, I come home from school. Every toy in my room, even stuff that was mine, is thrown away and gone. I ask her why. She goes, it's because you like them better than me. You're out to get me, my mother says. I said, I'm not out to get you, Mom. And then she goes into another room. I tell my father, I go, she threw away all my toys. She's doing something. You know what my father does? Well, what was this about? And my mother goes, oh, he didn't clean his room, so I just got rid of everything. Okay. And that was it for that. So my mother's acting completely nuts. But it doesn't stop there. I'm out playing outside by myself. I go to eat a red, pretty mushroom that looks really yummy, and an adult walks by and says the words, what are you trying to do, commit suicide? And walks off. I'm like, huh? What does that mean? Huh? Okay, well, I put the mushroom down because something I don't understand is going on, and I go inside. A week later, my nephew, who's like 2 to 3 years younger than me, is playing with me. We're playing outside. I see the mushroom. I go to pick it. I smile at him. I go, look at what I'm eating. And it's all pretty. I always thought these were the edible ones like on the pizza. So I can eat the red ones because they're pretty and they look red. They said the gray ones are poisonous. Don't eat the white grayish ones. They said those are poisonous. But The red pretty ones look like they're on the pizza. Yeah, they're yummy looking. They're not poisonous. And I take a big bite. I say, look, look, look. I'm going to eat the mushroom. It's pretty. Just like on the pizza. I'm thinking to myself. And I show my nephew like I'm cool. Like oh, look at this. I got this big red one that's going to be all delicious like cherries, I'm thinking. I mean, I'm only like 5, 6 years old. Remember, I also believe that Santa Claus is coming down the chimney. I also believe that an Easter bunny is going to come give me an egg. I also believe that my mother's abuse is a good thing because now I get a family. I also believe that all these pills screwing me up is something that's not, and I also repeat whatever my mother tells me to say. My mother also drills these things into me. So when my mother tells me that to believe in Santa Claus is coming, I believe that Santa Claus is coming. When my mother tells me I gotta say this and this means this, and she comes up with some mental illness thing that I don't understand, I go along with it because my mother is telling a 5-year-old to do it. Anyways, so I take a bite of this mushroom, and then my nephew gets all scared and he runs inside. Well, why did my nephew run inside? Because he asked me what I'm doing. My nephew asked me what I'm doing. So with a big smile on my grin, because I just took a bite, I say, and I think to myself, well, what do you call this? Eating a pizza? No, this isn't a pizza. This isn't a pizza. Then I go, committing suicide. Now, I understand the words kill yourself, but I don't understand the words commit or suicide quite yet. Now, obviously, my nephew did. Now, remember, I come from an orphanage where we really aren't allowed to be exposed to much of that words. We learn whatever is downstairs. That's it. We don't get TV. We would have never heard those words in St. Anne's orphanage. It's a church orphanage, so you're never going to hear those words in that church orphanage. Absolutely not. I mean, we didn't even hear swears except for from the older kids in the hallway one time while getting dragged. I mean, we never got to see the older kids. It wasn't like we got to talk with them. One time a kid was swearing while getting dragged, and we weren't supposed to see that either. So we didn't understand language like that, but I repeated it because remember, an adult a week prior or 2 weeks prior, whenever prior, said what are you trying to do? And now my nephew's asking me the same question. What are you trying to do? So I just say, oh, I know this one. They said I was trying to do something last week, and now my younger nephew is saying it, so I'll just repeat the words. So I repeat the words, but he must understand the word suicide. Just that one word he must understand or something because he runs inside. So then my mother, acting all crazy now. Now she's nuts. Now, it's okay to care about your son, but here's where it gets crazy. She asked me a question. What are you trying to do? I don't know, I tell her. Then she goes, are you trying to kill yourself? I tell my mother straight up, no, I'm not trying to kill myself. She goes back to my nephew. She goes nuts. She gets more mad. Now remember, my nephew is like 3 or 4 years old, and I'm like 5 or 6. My mother is in her 60s or 50s. She's a grown-ass adult, so she knows better than to fuck with our heads like this. So she comes over to me and goes, are you trying to commit suicide? I go, oh, no, no. Whatever this scary commit thing, no. I'm trying to eat it like it's on a pizza. I'm trying to eat it like it's on a pizza. I'm trying to eat it like it's on a pizza. I keep on repeating that to my mother. She goes back to a 4-year-old. No, the 4-year-old says you're trying to kill yourself. I go, I'm trying to eat it like a pizza. Please stop. I don't know what those words are. And then she goes, are you trying to kill yourself? I go, no, no, no. I'm trying to eat it like a pizza. And no matter how many times I repeat this, she walks back over to a 4-year-old and says, no, you're lying. No, you're lying. At this point, she goes completely nuts. Now, you might be thinking, well, what do? Give him some Epicac? Yeah, that's fine. You dose out a regular dose of Epicac. I really hope that she measures out a dose of Epicac based on the bottle and gives it to me. I really hope that that's something a mother might do back then. Because if your kid eats something poisonous, you measure out the right dose and you give it to him. I'm fine with that. Back then, that was pretty good parenting. But my mother decides, I'm going to punish you, she says. she starts doing this, and I'm gonna give you extra epicac. I'm gonna give you extra as a punishment. How dare you try to kill yourself? How dare? I go, I'm not trying to kill myself, Mom. I'm not trying to kill myself. I just ate it like a pizza. I just ate it like a pizza. I keep on telling her. Well, it doesn't stop there. Then my mother decides a whole bottle of epicac. She takes a Dixie cup, shows me it's empty in the bathroom. She runs some water so that the people in the hallway don't hear what she's saying. But I'm sure that her admitting to it for the next, all the way to age 16, she kept on admitting that she gave me a full bottle of Epicac or extra. So she took a 8-ounce Dixie cup. You might know the 8-ounce Dixie cups. And I know it's 8 ounces because I'm a grown adult age 31. I know the fucking difference. Every word I say here is exactly on point. My mother shows me it's empty on her side hand. She has me in the bathroom. She takes the bottle of Epicac. She starts pouring it and filling it. Not only does she fill it to the rim, like probably about 7 ounces in the cup. So you got 7 ounces of Epicac pure in the cup. All thick like. All liquid. I don't know what the hell she's doing with this shit. Giving me that much with no water, nothing mixed in. But she tells me to. I'm going to give you extra to make you really pay. You're going to feel this for a long time. Type stuff, rhetoric. She takes the cup, pours it, gives it to me. She tells me to drink every last drop. She doesn't measure any out. She just slams the bottle upside down and starts filling the cup. That's it. The cup was empty. She shows me it's empty on her side. She doesn't even have it like up. She grabs the bottle, just starts filling. She even tells me and everybody else how she's going to give me extra as a punishment. Now I try to drink this stuff and I just vomit. I vomit. My stomach's on fire. Now we're at about half of a Dixie's cup, so probably 3 ounces done. But then my mother comes over and goes, "No, you better keep drinking that." And I'm vomiting and I really can't. But then I get a breath and she says, "You better drink that." And I'm like, she's going to do this to me again and again and again if I don't do what she says. She's going to hurt me. So I take the cup and I try to drink some more, but it comes right back up. It just comes right back up. Now we're at about 2 ounces. I'm vomiting. My stomach's on fire. I try to take one last sip, maybe to an ounce and left in the cup. I vomit up. I can't get any more down. My stomach's on fire. And I've taken like a 10 times to 100 times dose. Anybody, it's way more than even an adult should ever take. This is even the people who try to lose weight with Epicac, and I think that's how my mother thought this was because she probably heard about that from her issues. But no matter what, this is dangerous stuff. And there's 1 ounce left, and my mother's going to come back and try to force this stuff into me again. So I pour the Epicac into the drain, into the toilet with a little bit left at the bottom. I don't know why I didn't think of that earlier. Probably because my mother is like a guard dog going back and forth. Drink more, drink more. Yeah, that's your punishment. So I vomit there and my stomach stays on fire. I feel really kind of hurt, but I'm always smiling while she hurts me. I've had to learn how to overcome this type of abuse, like my mother slipping me her own pills and I have an overdose. And then the next day I'm expected to go to school, and then the teachers call me in the hallway and ask me, what the fuck is wrong? This was constantly happening. But I would never get help because anytime anybody would try to help me, I would be lied about. Oh, he's just suicidal. That's it. He's suicidal. It's all fantasy. Let's move to Texas. Then they move me to Texas, New Mexico, Maine. Just keep me moving and keep on telling mental stories about me, and nobody will ever help me. They're using made-up mental illnesses to cut off any help. They've been doing it for years, and now it's become so easy that all they have to do is mail some paperwork, make a phone call, and any neurological help like epilepsy medication gets cut off right away. If I have an emergency bracelet that calls an ambulance for me, I only get it for 4 months before my family calls an insurance company and doctors and everything gets cut off. Having a mental illness backstory that is fake, having fake illnesses on your record, having a father and mother do these type of things, and then having your mother kill herself with drugs and alcohol and go through liver failure, all that stuff is terrible. It's absolutely terrible. And it makes it so you can't get help if somebody's still actively trying to make sure you can't get it. I mean, I get the help at first until these people's stories get involved, and it is a big problem, so I'm trying to fix it. But you can see how this suicide bullshit gets started. So now I'm age 7. I've sucked on my skin after an overdose that my mother's calling an allergy attack. Yes. Oh, by the way, the teachers, doctors, everybody saw this problem, and my mother said it was an allergy attack to the pills that the doctors were giving me instead of her trying to get me on these meds because that's what she was doing. Before I met this woman, I never had a cocktail of pills like this. But then I meet this woman, I'm on a cocktail of pills, I have an overdose, all this shit happens, I'm sucking on my skin. She tells the doctors that this is some mysterious allergy attack. The teachers try to put me in physical therapy and speech therapy. My mother's not happy about this. She puts me in ballet. She tells the doctor I'm suicidal and I'm all just suicidal at the age of 6. Then she says I'm suicidal again with the mushrooms. Then she moves me to Texas. In Texas, she tries this there. She tries to get all these doctors worked up, but they won't do it. They'll only give me therapy, and I only want to talk about my mother and this overdose with the therapist and the doctors. I want to get better. I can't move in the cold. I'm having speech difficulty. My legs are acting funny and jumping all around. I don't know what's going on, so I'm asking the doctors for help. My mother gets scared, so she moves me to New Mexico in a cabin that isn't built yet. In 1999, about that year, this place was just a yard with rattlesnakes and a bunch of different red ant hills and tarantulas. It was really fun to play. Me and the kids, there was no supervision. We didn't have classes, so we used to just wander around this mountain trying to find new animals and bugs. It wasn't supposed to be like that, but the place wasn't built yet. They were faking it until they could build it. So they took some people and put them in the cabin with some bedrooms, and they tried to hire a teacher, but there wasn't a teacher available yet, and so I missed out on my education, and that's all right. I kind of can't change the past. It made me the adventurer, non-scared of animals person I am. Now, yeah, it is a big fucking problem that I didn't get to go to school and I didn't get an education. But wandering around a mountain, identifying weird insects with no supervision and having, yeah, that helped me process some stuff, I guess. But it did cause a lot of problems there as well. My father sued them, got his money back. But I'm missing now about 2 years of education. And they decide the best thing to do is continue making up stories about me. But first, let's bury this some more. So they moved me to Maine now. No education at all. They're going to homeschool me. They register in Maine as homeschooling. On top of this, they do a bunch of other shit. One year they find a summer camp in Maine where all I do is play kickball and we make little, what do you call it, dream catchers and stuff like that. My father will call these dream catcher camps, and they're just summer camps for kids in Maine. You know, it's for summer camp. You know, it's not a school. He'll put one of these names down and try to call it like a school. Oh yeah, he was at a summer camp for 2 months. That counts. No, I'm missing 4 years of education. But, no. So he buys and sells houses while I just hang out on the beach and make some dream catchers and play with other kids who are vacationing for summer. And then I miss out some more. And then they bring me to Mass. Now, I'm missing 4 years, well, 3 years guaranteed, 1 year of reevaluation, and there's another year of complete mismatch. A basement school is taking special ed kids, and the teacher literally there was no classes for the entire year. But I never got anything reported on that, but all the other kids did. Believe it or not, all 12 kids went without an education. All 12. So a lot of these parents and a lot of these kids did get the help they needed. Luckily, the school did get caught for this. Obviously, all these kids did not get an education because all we did was play with action figures and things on the ground. And this was in Massachusetts. Now, I've asked my dad for my school listing so that way I can get the name and information because I wanted to. These other people are doing lawsuits for not getting an education, can't I? But I'd need the name of the school, but my father held that hostage. My father won't give me the name of my schools. He won't do anything. And now he says he forgot, but he can get these things. He won't work with me. He continues to blame me. He's also tried to kill me a couple times. He's also tried to, like, I had a seizure on the side of the road, so I get a bracelet. He gets the ambulance bracelet turned off. Every time I go to another state, because remember, I get moved around every 2 years or so, I start getting help from neurologists and doctors. But then my father starts talking to him, and then all they want me to do is go to a psychiatrist. I know that game. I don't get better. You can't like for instance, I have a kidney issue where my urine turned black, and I showed this on camera to the doctors, and they go, "Oh, you need a urologist." But only after I go in there talking about like internal bleeding, let's say into the testicles. Let's say, or I don't say that. I just say there's blood or bruising of the testicles. I tell them, "Hey, my testicles have bruises, and I got pictures of it." Instead of looking at the injury, they tell me I need to go to a psychiatrist. So I go, "Okay, okay, I hear you out. Now, will you take a look before I go there?" And they say, "Okay." So then I show them and they go, "What? This is real?"